Hey there folks, I'm the Caffeinated Dad, and I'm going to cover all the information you need to know to get started in Guild Wars 2 in 2025. I will cover your first steps as well as describing your journey to Endgame and thereafter. Here we go. Consider liking and subscribing for more Guild Wars 2 content. Let's start out with your server selections. Servers, for the most part, don't really need to be a heavy thought process, as you might experience in other MMOs. Here, it's either Europe or the Americas, mainly. Unfortunately, if you're on the Americas, you cannot play with Europe, and vice versa. Previously, the only limiting factor was when you were encountering world versus world, but that has recently gone under some changes with the world restructuring, and I will cover this later. Choosing the race of your character comes up next. Essentially, this is how you wish your character to look in-game, and that's about it. The race choice has no significant play really into any of the capabilities of your class, save for some unique race-based skills, but unfortunately they get outshined by the class-specific ones. The 5 choices that you have are the Char, the Human, the Norn, the Azura, and the Sylvari. Your choice here also has some play into the early parts of your main character's story, which eventually culminates into a centralized story, so these choices really only offer a change how your personal tale will go for the first 30 levels. Honestly, here, just pick the one that you think you would enjoy the most, the one that looks the coolest. This is where the real fun begins. Picking your class in Guild Wars 2 is without a doubt the most important choice that you will make, as it vastly changes your capabilities and playstyles. The 9 classes that you have available are the Guardian, the Warrior, the Revenant, that make up the Soldier category, the Engineer, the Thief, and the Ranger, that make up the Adventurer category, and then the Mesmer, the Necromancer, and the Elementalist that make up the Scholar category. Each one of those classes also has 3 elite specializations. Let's review. The Guardian is mainly a melee group support class, offering many different options to defend allies as well as burning away enemies. They can unlock 3 elite specializations in the Dragon Hunter, the Firebrand, and the Willbender. Each elite specialization category is unlocked behind one of the 3 main expansions, either being Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, or End of Dragon. The Warrior focuses heavily on melee combat, shouts, and other adrenaline-oriented skills that offer a really fast and furious playstyle. They can also unlock 3 elite specializations in the Berserker, the Spellbreaker, and the Bladeswarm. The Revenant was the last class added to the game and can only be played if you have an expansion purchased. The Revenant utilizes otherworldly energies and channels long-dead heroes for powers. Their elite specializations are the Herald, the Renegade, and the Vindicator. The Engineer, being one of my personal favorites, utilizes a wide variety of bombs, explosions, and weapon kits to overcome their foes. The Engineer's elite specializations are the Scrapper, the Hollowsmith, and the Mechanist. The Thief is the resident sneaky class that steals items from enemies and can fade in and out of stealth. The Thief's 3 elite specializations are the Daredevil, the Deadeye, and the Spectre. The Ranger is your honest-to-goodness naturalist, capable of fielding a pet in combat, as well as a wide variety of melee and ranged weapons. The Ranger's 3 elite specializations are the Druid, the Soul Beast, and the Untamed. The Mesmer is unique as it utilizes illusions and misdirections to overwhelm and overcome foes. The Mesmer's elite specializations are the Chronomancer, the Mirage, and the Virtuoso. The Necromancer, which is of course one of the OG fan favorite classes from the original Guild Wars, can summon deathly minions and cause terrible curses on their enemies. The Necromancer's 3 elite specializations are the Reaper, the Scourge, and the Harbinger. Lastly, my main class for most of my time here in Guild Wars 2, the Elementalist, dances between 4 separate attunements to burn, zap, freeze, and crush enemies that are in their way. The Elementalist's elite specialization are the Tempest, the Weaver, and the Catalyst. I've included a link of the full in-depth guide to all the classes and their capabilities in the description below. Logging in for the first time, you will be greeted with a number of different pop-ups, so let's take a closer look. Your top left houses your main menu. There is a lot going on here and I will cover this individually. Just below that is your party information. If you join up with allies, this will populate with all of the names of the people in your group. The top right will show you the main quest highlighted by the green text. Also any achievements that you're tracking, bonus events, and more. Your bottom left will show you the chat box, and your bottom right will show you your mini-map. The bottom of this screen houses your hotbar and your profession mechanic, your weapon swapping abilities, your mount toggle, as well as your health and endurance values. What you're seeing here is just a max level example of what it will look like. The center bar at the very bottom is your experience bar that will fill up as you complete activities, kill monsters, etc. This gets replaced by your mastery bar once you hit max level. allowing you to continue to gain experience to unlock certain perks as well as other things. I will touch on this in the endgame section. Let's dive into the menu. Starting from left to right, you have multiple buttons that you may engage with. First is the game menu. This allows you to log out of the game, to exit the game entirely, adjust settings in the option tab, or to get support from ArenaNet. Next is the contacts tab. This houses all of your direct friends that you have become acquainted to, as well as the looking for a group tab, which is directly below. This can be broken down into individual zones and events that you may be looking to join a group for. And below that is any followers who would like to see you when you are on. And lastly, the blocked tab for any accounts that you do not want to interact with. Now, the hero panel is arguably the biggest and most important tab, as this shows you everything about your character, including gear, builds, elite specialization, stories, quests, crafting, achievement points, mastery skills, the whole works. First, your actual equipment shows you everything that your character is currently wearing, as well as all items in your inventory that are applicable to that class. Next, we have the wardrobe, which shows you how you can change your appearance of your gear and your character. Your gear appearance change will cost you 1 transmutation charge. These can be purchased off the in-game store or found in a number of map-wide achievement events or personal achievements themselves. Personally, I get these more frequently during the PvP reward tracks, which I will cover later. After that is the Outfits tab. These are entire looks that can be purchased off the in-game store that transform your character's appearance to match that 100%. Below this is the Dyes tab. Each one of your pieces of gear can be dyed in an absolute mess of an assortment of colors, depending on which ones you will unlock during your travels. Luckily, changing the dye color of your outfit is 100% free. Then there are glider skins. These are tied to the movement feature of gliding, originally introduced in the Heart of Thorns expansion. Now, purchasing any expansion will get you the baseline gliding, but Heart of Thorns has a set of masteries for them to be improved upon. This tab allows you to essentially just change any of the skins that you have unlocked for your account. The Mounts tab show you all 9 available mounts in-game and which skin you can choose for them. The mounts were initially introduced during the Path of Fire expansion and offer a wide variety of movement capabilities. For the free-to-play accounts, you get a mount trial at level 10 to utilize a raptor for a little while. I believe it's about 10 hours. The fishing and skiffs tabs were added during the End of Dragons expansion and have their own unique uses. Fishing allows you to find and fish up a whole bunch of materials all throughout Tyria, while the skiff allows you to stand in place on the water to fish to do so. The novelty tabs is simply that, non-combat or gear improving items that are essentially allowing you to flex on other players. There is the chair, the musical instruments, the handheld items, and the permanent tonics. The Jade Bot is a feature that was introduced during the End of Dragons expansion, and this not only unlocks a new mastery track, but also a bunch of in-game features that essentially allow your time in open world to be much smoother and much more beneficial. Miniatures are non-combat pets that essentially follow you around. There is literally a metric ton of these to find, so I wish you the best of luck. Finishers are skins that allow you to finish downed enemies and players. This is a combat feature that when your HP goes to 0, you will be put into a down state. This allows you a chance at redemption. Either your allies will resuscitate you, or you can heal yourself without taking any damage. An enemy player can come over during this time and utilize a finisher to eliminate you from combat. The Finishers tab simply provides skins to make that look more festive. Lastly is the Mail Carriers. This is your basic skin changing item to make receiving mail look a little bit more unique. Next is your Build tab. This covers essentially all of your combat capabilities of your character. From left to right, you have weapon skills, slot skills, traits, and build storage. You will be able to see all the unique weapons that your class can use. Some of these will be locked behind the expansion's elite specializations. For example, the hammer can only be utilized by the engineer if you own the Heart of Thorns expansion and you are at max level, and you've unlocked the Scrapper elite specialization, or if you own Secrets of the Obscure and have completed the Weapon Master training. Upon getting to max level, you will unlock all of your class's baseline skills, and you can pursue hero points to unlock elite specializations for more skills at your disposal. This also carries over for your traits, as they will both be selectable skills that you earn over time as you are leveling, and then when you hit max level, you need hero points to unlock the elite specializations. Your build allows you to customize how your playstyle will go for each of the classes. You will have a total of 5 trait lines that you can use baseline for each one. Then there are the 3 elite specialization trait lines and skills associated with them. However, you will only be able to utilize 1 elite specialization at a time. The other 2 become unavailable, so you cannot simply just stack all 3 elite specializations. There's a lot of diversity when it comes to character builds within this tab, and honestly, I recommend a trial and error method to see what works best for you. The training tab simply allows you to choose what you want to spend your hero points on. During the base game all the way up to level 80, you will earn hero points as you level, as well as there being some hero point nodes out in the open world that offer a moderate challenge like defeating an enemy, and you'll get additional hero points there. You will unlock more skills and specializations to customize your character further on. The story tab is where all of the main stories are located for the game. They are broken into your personal story, Living World Season 1 and 2, the first expansion, Heart of Thorns, Living World Season 3, Path of Fire expansion, Living World Season 4, the Icebrood Saga, aka Living World Season 5, the End of Dragons expansion, the Secrets of the Obscure expansion, and lastly, Janthier Wilds. Now, essentially everything here will need to be purchased save for the main story or the My Story. Once you own any of the DLC content, you'll be able to play the story in any particular order, however many times that you wish. Expansions end up going on sale very frequently, so keep an eye out for that. Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire, I believe, is bundled together, so if you were interested in grabbing that, you would get gliding and mounts in one single unlock, so I highly recommend going that route if you're going to get anything. The next tab is crafting. There is a lot to dive into here. I will simply say that crafting is insanely efficient for leveling up and is also needed for many endgame legendaries. Legendaries are some of the best gear in game that you can earn. The investment financially can be a bit high early on in your Guild Wars 2 career, but it becomes worth it when we talk about legendary gear down the road. The achievements tab shows you all the different achievements that your character has earned, as well as what you have done account-wide. These sometimes earn simply just achievement points to offering some titles, to gear, and even legendary components that are needed for some gear. Lastly is the Masteries tab. This is essentially extra experience bars that you can complete once you hit max level. Now these unlock further progress for your character, as well as unique vendors and more. You will also need to find in the open world or earn achievements to find mastery points. This is necessary for you to progress your mastery in any given zone. And these are broken down into specific expansions and offer quite a few bonuses to what you earn through said expansions. However, you must be in the related zone to progress the mastery for that area. For example, you cannot gain Janthier Wilds experience on your mastery bars in a Path of Fire zone. Then we have the inventory tab, and this just simply shows you all the items that you have collected, as well as a currency tab down at the bottom to keep an eye on anything that you gain in your travels of Tyria. If I'm to be honest, the most important thing here is the shared inventory slot, which is up here at the top left. This allows you to share inventory with all of your characters down the road and makes it incredibly easy to transfer items from one character to the next. Inventory, of course, can be very overwhelming, as this game gives you quite a bit of items in a little bit of time. Next is the Mail tab. This tracks any items that have been sent to other players or from developers at ArenaNet. Then there is the Guild tab, which when you join a guild, this will be where all the baseline information will show up. You may join more than one guild at a time and swap back and forth through them at free will. When you first log into Guild Wars 2, you will not see the PvP or the World v World tabs. These become available once you have completed the first instance story. World v World is essentially massive open world PvP, where you and allied players duke it out against other players to wrest control of the maps. This game mode is fantastic with large groups of allies, and I will discuss World v World a little bit later, but just know that this is the tab where you can see the current overview of the fight, your personal reward track, which is a separate experience bar that only progresses during World v World combat, as well as your rank points, which you will get as you spend more time in the game mode. These offer a bunch of different capabilities like gliding in World v World zones, more damage to guards, etc. The PvP tab allows you to enter the PvP lobby. Again, this becomes available as soon as you finish the first instance story quest, and artificially boosts your character to level 80 to compete in endgame PvP action. This also allows you to trial any elite specialization your character may have access to without having to do all the work all the way up to max level and then earning the elite specialization in open world. PvP is structured into 5v5 matches, both ranked and unranked modes. PvP can also be a great way to earn gear and even legendaries. When you are in the ranked PvP leagues, you will also see your character's current rank as well as where everyone else is currently. Occasionally there will be PvP tournaments that can offer quite a bit of great currency, similar to the World v World rewards track. And similar to the World v World rewards track, there is also one here in PvP that tracks the experience you gain as you play more PvP. I will discuss both World v World and PvP a bit more in detail. The Wizard's Vault is essentially the new daily login feature here, and this is where you can earn gear, gold, and other currencies by completing specific tasks both on a daily and weekly basis. There's also a special tab that is oriented around whatever unique seasonal feature there is currently. Astral Acclaim is the main currency for this tab and can be used to purchase cosmetic gear, gold, and even starter kits for legendaries. They also store major skins and other features from previous seasons in the Legacies tab, so you never feel like you miss out. Lastly, there is the Black Lion Trading Post. This is split into 3 different tabs. The Gem Store, which is the purchased currency for the game. You can use it to buy game upgrades, account utilities, and of course loads of cosmetics. The big ones being of course like character expansion, bank tab expansion, bag slot expansion, in my opinion. They provide the most function because the game basically starves you for it, but that's neither here nor there. You can also use the middle tab here to exchange in-game gold to purchase gems. Now this price fluctuates a bit back and forth, but it does offer a way for players to earn gold in-game to purchase a number of features and cosmetic items from the gem store. Lastly, there is the actual trading post, which is essentially your free market. You can use gold you earn throughout your travels to purchase items and more. The cool feature is that you can sell things immediately on the trading post without actually needing to buy anything. As soon as you sell it directly to the trading post for a fast profit. Alright, that's a lot. So let's go ahead and talk about your first 10 levels. So when you get into Guild Wars 2, you are greeted with your open story instance that has you combating some sort of big bad, and once the instance is finished, you are left outside of the starting zone ready to begin your journey. Guild Wars 2 is centered around exploration and self-discovery. The game thrives off of it. You'll now find that your PvP and World v World tabs are available, but there is no main green quest marker. This is because you will need to get through the first 10 levels to unlock your next portion of the story. And how do you manage that? You explore. Literally everything in this game offers experience, from reaching new areas, fighting enemies, completing renowned hearts, which are basically quests. Lots and lots of things to do. Let's take a look at the minimap first. Pressing M, you will see 2 boxes, the current zone that you were in, as well as the world completion box. These absolutely do not have to be done, but there are some achievements and currencies associated with getting world completion, but that usually only comes when we're talking about legendaries. First, you will see renowned hearts, which functions as essentially as localized quests. Completing these will earn you a new vendor as well as a bunch of experience. Hero points, which as mentioned before, give you a bonus hero point to spend unlocking traits and skills as you level up. Then there are the waypoints, which allow you to fast travel all over the world at the cost of coin, of course, once you actually unlock said waypoints. Then there are vistas, which offer some scenic view of the surrounding area, but also grant pretty good experience. Then points of interest, which essentially just grant you experience once you discover them. There is an incredible amount of content for you to do. That's not to mention in the open world, where you will find real-time events that progress and change depending on how well they actually are attended to. You will find that you will level up very, very fast. You'll also see that your skill bar isn't fully unlocked, and it will unlock more as you level up. The first 5 are your weapon or weapons skills, which are unique to each class, meaning that a pistol won't work the same way for an engineer that it does for a thief. You then have your slotted heal skill, 3 utility skills, and 1 elite skill. Once you engage in combat, these will lock and be unable to be edited. As you level, you will also unlock your profession mechanic, which is unique to each class and even each elite specialization. For the engineer, for example, they will unlock an extra utility buttons from their utility belt that grants unique effects depending on the skills that they are using. Pretty neat. So you are set to explore and ready to go, but one small thing I will mention to you is here on the hero panel, then going to the achievements tab and then scrolling to character adventure guide. This offers a massive amount of experience for your character just while you're doing the simple things that you were going to be doing anyway, such as applying conditions, looting enemies, and more. This offers a massive chunk of free experience, and you were just going to do them otherwise. So keep an eye on those and see if you can't cherry pick some of them easily. You'll also find this featured on the top right as you log in. As you level, you'll be granted a preview of what the next few levels will unlock, as well as more information of new systems as they are introduced. Getting to max level in Guild Wars 2 isn't inherently difficult. In fact, playing through the game essentially will speedrun you there. I do have a few recommendations as you are going though. First and foremost, you do not need to 100% do the story. I prefer it, and I would suggest that you do it just so you have a little bit more understanding what's going on, But if you're having fun completing the open world events and renowned hearts, then you do not need to complete it. Also, you will find that you will quickly outlevel zones you are in just by completing some of the objectives. I recommend moving to whatever zone is as current with your current level as possible, as I believe it offers a little bit more experience, but you will also have access to more current gear for your level. Your levels change dynamically in Guild Wars 2, as you will be scaled to whatever level that particular zone is. So if you are max level and you go into a level 10 zone, you will be scaled down to level 10, even though you have your full kit available. Getting to max level really opens the door to all the great things that are available to this game. You can quite literally go in 1,000 different directions, and they're all correct. First thing you will note is that you will now have access to the Living World seasons or the expansions that are tied to your account. They are available to be completed, as well as unlocking any elite specializations available for any expansions that you may own. The stories can be completed in any order you choose. But let's go ahead and run down a list of the endgame modes. So first and foremost, open world in Guild Wars 2 is without a doubt one of its best features. There are zones that are constantly spawning gigantic boss battles, living events that change dynamically as more players join in, and tons of these are occurring at any given time during the day. I've included the meta boss event tracker in the description below, which will tell you what is happening on every interval in real time. Dungeons are available as you are leveling, but it also allows you to enter in and be scaled down later down the road. These are usually done for specific cosmetics or other unlockables, but unfortunately they really don't have too much excitement around them as they're not done as often. Fractals of the Mists unlock at max level, and this is one of the most enjoyable, short and quick endgame PvE instances that you can do. Again, they are essentially dungeon-styled instances that have you completing whatever the story there is. Depending on the level of the fractal, these instances can be scaled to incredibly high difficulties with other modifiers, as well as the agony mechanic. Modifiers will affect your character or the instance itself, increasing enemy damage or inhibiting your capabilities. The big mechanic is agony. When you take damage in higher tier fractals, you will take a scaling damage over time effect called agony. The higher the level of your fractal is, the more damage that you will take. To combat this, you can socket your gear with agony resistance, which reduces the amount of damage you will take from all agony sources. Fractals are an excellent way to make daily gold and have a chance for some good gear to drop. Raiding in Guild Wars 2 is a set group of 10 players where they venture into the depths of enemy strongholds to defeat them for gear and gold, of course. Raiding requires a decent amount of coordination as well as group balance, and usually cannot be simply bull rushed through. Raiding was introduced through the expansions of Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, and Janthier Wilds. There are many raid training groups that will work with you and teach you the mechanics to progress through these tough encounters. Also, on a weekly basis, there is the Emboldened mode, which grants damage, health, and healing for each time that a boss is failed to be defeated. Now, this only ever affects one wing at a time. Once the boss is overcome, then the counter is reset, and then it will start accumulating if you fail the next boss. The last major PvE endgame available is strike missions. These are single boss instances that a group of 10 players will engage to defeat. These are unlocked via the main story and can be completed again for gold and specific currencies that can be exchanged for gear and other things. These usually don't really take a whole lot of time to accomplish, as many groups simply join in for whatever daily strike mission is available and complete it for that particular day. These strike missions can also be scaled up in difficulty due to challenge mode, which adds extra mechanics, but unfortunately these are only available for strike missions of End of Dragons and forward, so none of the Icebrood sagas have this. This is an excellent way for you to get some very quick PvE grouped action, and can even be progressed through more difficult content if you're interested. Now looking at the player versus player side, structured player versus player, or SPVP, is one of the most fun bits of endgames in my mind. However, I might be unique in that statement. This is 5v5 combat against other players, typically doing a point holding game where you generate points the longer that you hold an objective. PvP is normalized here. You will essentially get the same stat points as everyone else, and you can mix and match and build your character for whatever method that you want to accomplish. And it's also about as level a playing field as you will get in this game. Your stats are chosen through this amulet, your rune choice, and your relic choice. As mentioned before, this is split between ranked or unranked PvP. Unranked is simply unrecorded PvP matches, whereas ranked PvP is focused around your league position and how often you win. You cannot join ranked PvP until you were at least PvP rank 20, which once you are there, I would recommend doing ranked PvP all the time, as you will be able to earn specific currencies as well as ascended and legendary gear. As mentioned before, World v World is the Wild West of PvP. This is a wildly popular endgame mode that has you enter the mists and with whatever gear you have on your back. Now you do end up getting scaled to level 80, but typically the stat values for lower level gear is not that great, so I don't recommend joining there until you were max. As of June 2024, with the release of the World Restructuring Update, players will join guilds brought together by the matchmaking system with the intention of creating balanced population across all teams. Matchmaking is performed every 4 weeks. Eventually, they are looking to implement the Alliance system, which allows multiple players across guilds to join up together for matchmaking and battle from there. Currently, World vs. World is a massive free-for-all, with roaming groups of allies and enemies fighting over control of specific points across the different maps. Players join this game mode to level up their World v World rank, earn titles, earn gear, and honestly the fun. It's simply just fun to run around with a bunch of roaming players and murking other enemies. It's great. Having said all this, there are also many different other endgame activities that you can participate in, and a short list of them are RPing, mount racing, achievement hunting, legendary collection, homesteads, which have only just been added into the game for the Janthier Wilds expansion, gold farming, fashion hunting, convergences, and more. Quite literally, you will not be bored with this game. Lastly, I'll touch base on the different expansions that are available. In order, there are the 5 expansions for Guild Wars 2, all tying to the main story in some way. The first 3 completed the Elder Dragon story, while the most 2 recent took the story into a different direction. Heart of Thorns has players delving into the depths of the Maguma jungle to fight the jungle dragon Mordremoth, whereas Path of Fire has players crossing the Crystal Desert chasing down the rogue human god Balthazar. The End of Dragons expansion has us reuniting with the lost continent of Cantha to put a stop to the threat of Elder Dragons once and for all. Secrets of the Obscure offers clarity to the Wizard's Tower and dealing with the enemies beyond the Veil, while Janthier Wilds takes us north, where the Wizards of the Tower tell us that there's an impending existential threat that must be averted. As mentioned, there are Living World seasons interwoven in between these expansions up until about End of Dragons, and these offer more in-depth storytelling, different features that are added to the game, as well as new zones to explore. So I'd like to wrap up with just some basic new player tips if you are still hanging around. I think they would be wildly beneficial for you guys to know. This game is incredibly casual, and honestly, it should be treated as such. Guild Wars 2 is such a great game to leave and then come back when there is new content to play, so treat it as such. Number 2, there really isn't a gear treadmill for Guild Wars 2. Once you earn gear, you are basically set up in that position and there's no pressure from there. Gaining something on one character generally applies to all of your other characters, so keep that in mind. And number 3, there is no correct way to play Guild Wars 2. Play the game how you wish to play it, and you will find that it is a fantastic time. Hopefully this was helpful and you find your way into this great game. If you want to learn more about the classes, click this video here to learn more about each one of them in depth. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.